Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Conversations. I'm Nikki Csek, your host, and I'm super excited to have with us in studio Amy Mosset with, I may or may not have done that right, with Interactive Counselling. Welcome, Amy. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So, Amy, I'd love to know, you're a counselor with Interactive Counselling. What is the designation, or how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so I'm actually a master practitioner in clinical counseling, and I'm a supervisor as well. We have been in practice in Kelowna for almost a decade now. We started really small and have grown and grown and grown. We've expanded to Vernon and to Grand Prairie, so we have multiple different offices. But Kelowna is definitely our head office, and that's where I operate out of.
Okay. So one of the things we want to talk about today is really that start. You're not feeling well, something's bothering you, everything that you're trying, whether it's getting more sleep, whether it's changing your diet, changing your job, trying to set boundaries, whatever is not working, there must be a point in time that you think you need to bring more people on the team.
Yeah. At Interactive Counselling, we are definitely focused on breaking down the stigma. Really just even yesterday I had a client come in and was like, I don't know why I'm here. I have never done this. I just know that I'm extremely emotional. I don't know why, and I don't know how to handle it. And it was just so welcoming to me because I just said, this is really normal. Most people come in because either their loved ones want them to come in or they just don't feel right. And I actually hate the term right and wrong.
Yeah.
I take it out in our practice because there is no right and wrong to mental health. It's really what fits you. And just really being aware and understanding that all the self-help books that you can read and all the podcasts that you can read are wonderful. And that means that you're looking and engaging and changing, but realistically, it's not catered to you. And I think it's really important that people find care that is specifically catered to them.
So someone gets the courage to come into your practice, come into Interactive Counselling. I think, and I do use the word courage because anything unknown is scary. So they don't know if they're going to be welcomed by someone coming into the clinic or the practice. So what are some of the things someone can expect? So they haven't phoned, they've just walked in and they've got their hand up. I think something feels off. Can you help? Is it paperwork? Is it, are you approving that they come?
Yeah. So typically in private practice, because that's what we are as a private practice, we're not public health. There are public health options, which you have to get streamlined through your doctor and a referral. Sometimes there's a psychiatrist involved, but with private practice, you don't need a referral.
Okay.
And so stereotypically, it's just really important, again, to find the right fit. And so I tell people to do the research and look and really look online and look within yourself as well to see what genuinely it is that you want out of a counselor. Do you want somebody with high energy, with low energy? Do you want somebody that can have a little bit of comedy involved? Really what we do is we meet you where you're at, and many counselors will say that, but genuinely I can only speak from us, and we genuinely meet you where you're at. And so what that means is we know you're scared, and I know that when I have a new client come in and they are shaking, they're crying before they even start, they're apologizing for crying, I welcome it. I'm like, I normalize it, and this is so normal. This is new for you. It is not new for me. And so this is where we're going to start, and really just reaching out. And that's the hardest part. When people sit down and they're shaking and they're full of tears and they're grabbing the tissue and apologizing, I just reaffirm, this is the hard part. This is the part that is the toughest that you will meet yet, because this is the only time that you'll be alone in this process. When you sit in our office, we are there from now on.
And I find that encouraging. So I think letting the audience or the listeners know that you can come in, you can not be polished or guarded or maybe not real. You just you can fully just be authentic and sort of be caught as you're feeling not well.
Yes. And so I really love that you use the term real, because that's exactly what you will see at our practice. I really love to use the term comfy cozy when clients come in. I think it's important to welcome them in the first session, but after that, it's like, help yourself to the water, help yourself to the tea, help yourself to the coffee, to the snacks, whatever it is that you need for you to be comfortable, because you are the important one. So get yourself whatever you need before session. Come in early, come in right on time, whatever it is that you need. Like, we're going to welcome you. And I think it's really important to understand that we will catch you and that you won't be alone.
So I think that brings up another potential, and I'm guessing, I don't know, a potential barrier for someone. So they've taken the courage, they've come in. What do they do, or how can they ensure a really good match or fit with the counselor? So I think, and I'm guessing, would someone maybe hesitate going in to meet a counselor in fear of that they're not going to be a match and they're not going to know how to unwind out of the commitment or the
there's no commitment. And that's the thing, is that it's really important to understand that, again, this is about you. This is about your journey, and it has nothing to do with the counselor. So it's really important for you to understand and reflect on, do you need somebody that's more direct? Some people need to be cared for more gently, depending on the situation they are coming in for. A lot of my clients and I have a very strong rapport that I've had for years, and I love them. But to be honest with you, they need a swift kick in the rumpus half of the time. They just need a point of accountability. And the reason why I say years is because it doesn't mean that they're coming every week for years. It means that, hey, I am the person that will catch you when you're down. I am the person that will call you on when you're not choosing the right choices that align with your value system, because I know you. So you can come back 5-10 years later and know that I know you. And I think that that's important as well, is that with our practice, at least with our operation, our team is that of a team. Many counseling practices offer individual therapists for individual clients. And while, yes, that's exactly what you get, I will often say you have one counselor in front of you, but you've got an army of us behind you, because we've got a team of 17, 20 counselors between all of our practices that specialize in different things, and we really support each other, and we make sure to, again, put that client first and ensuring that it's about you, your wants, your needs, and really, again, your value systems, the way that you operate. So I think it's really important to understand what it is that you're looking for, and if you don't know, just be honest with the counselor. I don't know what I'm looking for, and be vulnerable in that. And again, that's when a counselor will go to you and just simply say, like, okay, let's go search. Let's find out. If it's not a good fit, I really encourage you to not hide as well, because it's not that big of a deal. It's more important that you take care of yourself. And I know that if there's not a good fit in our practice, I will do check-ins. I'll find out why. Is somebody too high energy? Is somebody too point blank? Do you need a little bit of extra compassion, or vice versa? And we'll match you with that. And if there's somebody that's not in our practice, then that's okay, because we do have a lot of people, but we will find somebody else somewhere else for you as well, because it's the importance of it being about you.
And I think that's a common thread that I'm hearing as you and I are having this discussion, this real, unique care that is dedicated to you. You had said it earlier about the podcast or the self-help books, and nothing is open to page 43 and do these things. So it's very much being in front of someone like yourself that, again, I believe you're listening and trying to identify what are things that I can, together with you, work on to try and help me feel better.
Yeah.
So very unique.
It is. And I think that people need to realize that you miss things. I had one client, self-help extraordinaire. And while I really love the ambition to want to be better, I love that because that tells me that they're willing to put in the work. But I kept saying, stop undoing my work, because at the end of the day, like, you are my masterpiece. You are, like, your success makes me fabulous at my job. And so I challenged this client. I said, pick a book, pick any book. So this client picked a book and we went through it and we read it chapter by chapter. And it was really fun. It was a really fun experience. And as well as learning experience for me, because I had never done this with a client before, but I had just had enough of them being like, well, what about this? What about this? Okay, no, that doesn't apply to you because you don't suffer from this, this, and this. Like, and a lot of people will Google things and search, and it just kills me. But it was really fun to go through this exercise because I was given the opportunity for that client to say, this is what I took from it. Fabulous. This is what I took from it for you. And it was something completely different.
That's fascinating.
So while the books are fabulous and they're wonderful resources, you can miss stuff that could be very important and imperative, in fact.
Well, and I even think, I think there's two sides to that coin. I think we can be really hard on ourselves, but I think we can let ourselves pass go and collect $400. So I 100%. Can see that we could read something and go, oh, that's it. That's me.
Totally.
And so the ability to have someone sitting with you asking those questions, well, actually, maybe not, and this is why. So having that other sounding board, if you will.
Yeah, and it's just one of those scenarios where I really find that when we've got a couple pictures in our office, and I will tell my clients, if you're right up to the picture, you can't see the full thing. So you can see yes, there's blue, and yes, there's orange and some yellow, and that's not incorrect. That is correct, but you're missing the big picture. And sometimes it just takes one person to say, hey, what if you just take a step back? And then you can see it all. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get there, and sometimes it just takes a session or two, and it's like, oh, okay, that's why this is happening. And it's so fun to watch clients improve and consistently progress. And if you're not, then you're likely not with the right counselor, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So let's talk about frequency. So if someone's coming in, do they need to be maybe aware that this is like a session every other day for the next 10 years? Or what is the sort of the continuum of care?
Yeah.
Obviously indicative of the
situation and the person. And that's one of our top asked questions. How often do I come? And I always will tell my clients, it's my job to work my way out of a job. And just for you to know that I'm here at the end of the day. And so we often will ask clients to come back every week for 2 to 3 weeks, because that's where we find a space where we can, what I call, catch you. So if you are, just as an example, if you're a very angry person and you're struggling with anger management, I'm not going to, you look very angry.
I'm actually, I think I have a shirt that says my anger management class is PISSING me off. So I get it.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where if I give you some tools for your anger and you work them for a week, and either A, they don't work for you, because again, this is catered to you in your situation, at least that next week I can catch you. Or most commonly is after a week, you will do it, you'll be mindful of it, and then after that week, you're going to slip off. And then I'm going to have to catch you. So I like to be very proactive instead of reactive. So I like to say, I will see you back-to-back weeks for a couple weeks, and we're going to reassess. And then we're going to push it from there. And then what that does, it allows me to cater my plan and our plan to each person individually.
It makes so much sense, because you have to get that foundation of knowledge to get those inputs, that transfer of knowledge from ourselves over to you, so that you can begin to put a plan of action in place.
And everybody's treatment plan should be different.
It makes sense.
You know, and while there's many tools that are going to be the same throughout, the treatment plan should truly be catered to each client individually. And again, if it's not, then I would recommend looking for somebody else, because that's more of like a factory type counselor. There is like just talk therapy. You know, like there's so many different modalities, and so many counselors will say that they're client centered, when realistically that's just saying, hey, I'm going to meet you where you're at, where every single counselor should meet you where you're at.
Absolutely.
But having the ability of continuing education and growth as a therapist and as a counselor and as just a clinician, you should always want to grow, and that also translates to your clients.
So, Amy, what can you say in closing that will encourage someone that's sort of standing at the edge of the swimming pool, that really needs to take that leap of faith and jump in and seek counseling? What would you? Is there a dare you would do, or a piece of advice, or just a motivational? It's just so tailored to each person individually. When I finished school, I took a business course for counselors, actually. And it was really interesting, because one of the facts was you're going to need to be in front of one person, like whether it be through like social media or radio or, you know, ads, whatever it is, an average of 29 times before that person books. Oh, that's fascinating.
And so what that tells me is that person is starting to think.
Yeah.
Is starting to consider, but just nervous, you know? And I think it's really important to understand what it is that you are getting into. You know, check out that social media, do a drive-by. Honestly, even if you're nervous and you want to know, do a drive-by.
I like that.
Because that's more exposure to it. And honestly, just reaching out. And the biggest step is booking. The second biggest step is showing up.
Interesting.
Because people will book and then they'll cancel because they get nervous. And it makes me so sad, because most commonly they're their own worst enemies. And if, like I said, yesterday I had one new client, and this person was, at the end of it, started off so scared, and then at the end you could just see the calm and relaxed. And then I was like, okay, like, was the fit good for you? Like, was the fit really, 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 again, I like to do a check-in at the end, because I need to make sure it's a good fit as well. And then they need to make sure it's a good fit. And if not, that's okay. But we did the check-in, and she just looked at me and she goes, I didn't know what to expect, but I feel better already. I'm excited. And she looked at me, she goes, and you are so fun. Aww. And so it just provided me that opportunity match. You know, like, again, I can't wait to see this client again.
Yeah.
You know, and just really help that person progress, because at the end of the day, it's a business, and it's a business of mental health progression. And I think it's just really important to understand that you are your own barrier. And so if you could reach out and just trust in yourself and know, hey, let's just try it. It's truly not that big of a deal, and normalize the fact that it doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're struggling. A lot of people who come in are completely neutral. They just need a person to talk with. Maybe it's about their history. Maybe it's about their relationship. Maybe they don't have a close friend. There's some people who are severely depressed or anxious, lots of trauma, whatever it might be. There's just such a spectrum of clients.
I was just going to say, there's no persona of the type of person that should seek counseling.
None. Yeah. And it's so interesting, because one thing that's coming up commonly, especially in couples, is they're like, but we love each other. I'm not here to break you up, you know, and you don't have to be in crisis to be in couples counseling. It's just saying, hey, I want to improve. And that's really just, again, self-improvement.
So that passes through to individuals. You do not need to be in crisis to seek counseling.
No, a lot of people nowadays, One positive thing that I feel like came from COVID is that it has really normalized mental health. And I think that people are just knowing that they need someone to talk to that don't have an opinion, that just they can vomit their words to, not be judged, listen, judgment. None. I always say, this is not a place of judgment. This is a place strictly for awareness, because maybe my actions, I could be judgmental of myself, but what good does that do? Let's just create awareness so we can make adjustments and make different choices and see the results from that.
Interesting. Amy, thank you so much for coming in. I look forward to our next 5 topics and having you in studio again shortly.
Thanks so much for having me.